Let's give some love to the Mets, who are putting a pounding on the Braves. About to take 2 out of 3.
Hey now.
12-3 last time I looked up there in the 7th inning.
What's up with the Braves?
Braves have been very, very ordinary. They've got they have some issues. I mean, I think they'll correct them because they're a good offensive team. But there's some issues there. The bullpen, I don't think, is all that great. But Nimmo's got a couple of hits. Marte, people forget Marte got hurt last year, and Lindor's got a hit. Still 1 for 5. Alonso, nice outbreak here. And now you took the series.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
Because they're not making up the game from last night until September.
Yep.
So that's back-to-back series that the Mets have won.
Now, the Yankees lost yesterday. We're in the middle of Diamond Notes right now,
That's
brought to you
right.
by London Jewelers. Yankees lost. Stroman didn't have his best stuff, although he persevered and battled, so we give him credit for that.
Issue, right?
Yeah, his command wasn't great, but he gave them 5 innings. Yankees tried to come back. Stanton, another home run, has now homered against all 30 teams in baseball. He had never homered against his former team. Finally did
Makes
that.
sense.
He looks very good. And what a spirited rally in the bottom of the 9th inning. Volpe got on, Soto got on to load the bases, and passed the baton to Aaron Judge. And Judge, who has a high on-base percentage, and I think he has 14 or 15 walks so far in the year, just hit a medium-range fly ball to center field to end the game. But it was set up for a dramatic finish, but Judge still is not right there just yet. And I think the lack of at-bats during spring training have bothered him a bit, although they say that's not the case.
Well, let me recreate an interaction that Anthony Pusick, our producer, had with Michael Peter earlier in the day. All right, Michael, just react the same way you did with Anthony. Are you worried about Judge?
No.
Yeah, it was a quick no.
That was the whole thing.
Dismissive no. A dismissive no. And I'm not saying he should be concerned. But
Why don't he be concerned if he's hurt?
But it could be one of those years, Michael.
Nope, he's never had one of them.
Not all the more reason, right? I mean, sometimes, look at it. Alexander Ovechkin's going to finish with 30 goals. He routinely gets 45.
Well, he's 85 years old.
But I'm just saying that, but all of a sudden, maybe it's age or just maybe sometimes just have one of those years. Like, is it a crazy thought?
Yes. He's never
even ask the question.
He's never had one of those years. He's not that kind of player.
Peter, I'll ask you. So you're telling me, great, historic years, the greatest players of all time. All of a sudden, he just can't have a year where he bats 280 and hits 35 home runs and drives in 95 RBI? Like, that's completely irrelevant.
Well, that was a good season.
280.
Because you didn't let me finish.
Well, you said 38 home runs and 95 RBI?
Yeah, well, that's
How would
fine.
like a pedestrian Judge year?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So,
But that's not something wrong.
But if you look at the history of great players, Don,
Yes.
right? You don't see 210, 220.
no, but you didn't let me. You were dismissive. You were arrogant.
I don't think I was either.
But you didn't let me finish the question. That no, you're not concerned or worried that he's just all of a sudden going to fall off the face of the earth, but can at least be in the mind that maybe this could be one of those years for him where you say, that's 285, 37 home runs, 98 RBIs. That's not a Judge year, and that's certainly not a year that you throw away if you're an average Major League Baseball player. But could he kind of set the tone for where this might be one of a year that isn't special for Judge? That's all I'm asking. And if you're not concerned about it, then you could say no.
But I wouldn't even be concerned if he did that. That's not a terrible year. It's not 62 home runs.
Well,
it's not 52 home runs, but it's a good year for anybody else. I mean, I'd be concerned if I thought he was going to hit, like, if he had the year that Stan had last year.
Well, okay, how about this, though? Let's ask this question. We're now 13 games in, and he is certainly, I know his on-base percentage is not bad, but at what point would you start to worry? How far do we have to go where he's still not hitting? He's hitting under 200.
So what's their record? They're
10-3.
They're 10-3. This is the
6-1.
Lowest batting average that he's ever had through the first 13 games of a season ever. So if we go to May and he's hitting under 200, I'd be a little concerned.
And I would think that there's no shot of that happening.
Right.
He's too good a ball player.
Right. Unless he's hurt.
But that's why I didn't bring up any of that, because I don't think it's on the table. But what I just want to get to, could it just be maybe where we look at it and say, this isn't going to be your typical Judge year? And it would be a little disconcerting just because of the protection he has in the lineup And I still think you can win with those numbers, don't get me wrong. But, even Willie Mays and even Barry Bonds didn't always go out and hit 70 home runs. There was always those one year where the numbers just seemed to be a little bit off. But because he's such a great player, a little off is still better than like 80% of the rest of Major League Baseball. But I think that could still be on the table. A pedestrian year for him.
In the back of my mind, knowing how tough a guy he is, and the fact that he was so distraught about missing all that time after injuring the toe in Dodger Stadium, it's way back in the back of my mind that maybe he's playing at less than 100%. Because, again, they don't put you a 6'7" guy, 282 pounds in an MRI tube for nothing, and they MRI'd his abdominal area. And they said that they didn't find anything for any concern. Is it still bothering him? Because he just looks like it's a tick off. But then, the other day he was on base 4 times. He hit a double that was, probably dented the ball.
Because
I just think it's a matter of time. But if he's hurt, then that's a concern. One other baseball note. Jordan Montgomery told Scott Boras, I'm good. He got rid of him as an agent.
Well, why wouldn't you?
No,
that's not what you signed up for.
His other guys.
No, but I can understand if I'm Jordan Montgomery and I say to myself, I'm going to hire Scott Boras to get top dollar, and then I end up missing the first month of the season. I don't get the money that I was looking for, and then I take a look at what's happened with Snell. He gets beat up in his first outing in San Francisco, and I might throw away my season. I could be a little ticked off. I am sure the conversation that Scott had with him was not, hey, I don't think you're going to get signed right away. He probably said, don't worry about it, man. I'm going to get you big money. You're going to go someplace, and it's going to be great. It's going to be special. It's going to be fun.
I always say this. I always use this as an addendum. I have the utmost respect for Scott. I think he misread the market this year. So a guy who's probably never going to have a year like he had last year, where he helps the team win a World Series, got a 1-year, $25 million deal. He did not cash in on his one great year. Let's see if he does it again. Now he has a vesting player option for $20 million, and that vested 10 starts and can escalate to 25 if he starts 23 games. So at best, it's 2 years, $50 million. And then look what Snell got after winning a second Cy Young. Nothing.
Right.
And Chapman, although I think Chapman got what he deserved because I think Chapman's a flawed player. Cody Bellinger, nothing.
Mm-hmm. So hey, you're not coming through with your promise.
But he's going to just bask in the glory of representing Soto. Because he's going to sit there and they're going to be throwing offers at him.
Right, but that's not anything. I could be his agent, and you can get that. That's Roger Goodell negotiating television money for the NFL.
All right, the Yankees yesterday, they lose a game, 5-2. They battled back. They threatened in the ninth inning where they had the bases loaded. Aaron Judge at the plate. And he hits a fly ball to center field. The Yankees still have the best record in baseball. And now they go on the road. Today they're off. They'll travel to Cleveland. 3 games against the Guardians. And then 3 games in Toronto against the Blue Jays. So that's where the Yankees stand right now. One thing I got to tell you all. I don't know how many people watched the game yesterday. I have never, ever, in the 38 years covering baseball, 5 years as a writer, ever seen a guy who is more exciting and more scintillating working a walk. It's unbelievable. Soto's unbelievable. I mean, it becomes like a dynamic thing, the way he approaches every pitch. He's such an expert of the strike zone, and it doesn't seem like big moments, bring him down at all. He had a big double yesterday to give the Yankees their second run, and then with 2 outs and runners on first and second in the bottom of the ninth inning, he works a walk and passes the baton to Judge. So he won't expand its strike zone. Now, that sometimes there's been a knock on him. In big moments, you have to expand your strike zone. But, Don, not when Aaron Judge is hitting behind you.
No.
Just get on base. Pass the baton. He is something else.
When exactly is it a bad thing for you to get on base, even in a one-run game with Judge hitting behind you? And I know Judge is struggling. He's batting .250 or whatever, but
175.
Well, so
Stanton's hitting .250.
It's going to come around. It's going to be something you want. And I'm sorry, I don't want my batter going against how he approaches things. Now, if it's on the corner, Michael, and you're struck out looking, you want to see him swing, but he's going to get his pitch. He's going to hit it. If he doesn't get it, he's going to walk. And I can't imagine with Judge and Stanton coming up after him that you're ever going to look at that as a bad thing. Now, if Judge ends up hitting 175 the rest of the season, then maybe you're going to have to make an adjustment. And if that happens, then it probably would be a shakeup in the order anyway. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Get on base and pass the baton. That's always when the Yankees are at their best, Michael, when they're making starting pitchers work and they're passing the baton.
Don, can we please, I mean, I beg you to do this all the time. Can we give the Mets some love? That was a big win today.
Well, again,
they won
where's the
2
Met
out
game?
of 3.
Where was the Met game today?
It was on TV.
Right, and where is it on TV?
On SNY.
And where is it on SNY in the studio? Parked behind the light. Why do I always get that? Why does that always happen to me? I just want to know. The Met, you got the Masters right there next to the clock for Peter.
I love it.
You might as well have it sitting in his lap. And then the Mets are always behind the light.
But you know they won.
But I did. I listened on the way in. And I watched it with Brownshire Studio. Had some nice lunch. And they batted
enjoyed yourself like gentlemen.
You had lunch with Brownshire?
I ate.
Did he pay?
No, I went to his studio.
Okay.
Because I didn't think the Fordham kids need to watch me eat.
And they watch me eat.
And me too.
Well, I didn't.
You're classy.
So I went in there and I watched the Mets with Brownshire. We listened to some music together. And then I came in here and looked at a light with half the TV. But they were up 12 by, what was it, 10-3 at that point. So
now, rest assured, everybody, rest assured. Don's not missing anything now because once the Met game was over, we turn off SNY because there's nothing on at this time that we'd be interested in seeing.
Not anything anyone
And I
would
think
watch.
most people feel that way.
If only if you look at the evidence.
I got a hankering to see Grizzly Adams for some reason, but I can't figure out why.
Talk about a guy with a beard, though.
But no, Don's beard.
You got to explain it to him. No jokes are funny when they got to be explained.
I know. And Don's beard is
Shecky Green didn't have an interpreter standing next to him on the stage. People laughed. If you don't know Shecky Green, Wikipedia. I like the fact they took 2 out of 3 because the game that they got rained out yesterday is going to be made up in September. So you follow up the embarrassment of the 0-5 start to the season by taking 2 out of 3 from Cincinnati. You take 2 out of 3 from the Braves. You get decent starting pitching tonight, but you haven't all season. But now the bats are starting to warm up a little bit. This team is going to go as far as the bats take them. Would you agree with that? Bullpen's not great.
No.
You don't agree with that?
No. They have to give it. It's only going to go as far as the pitching. I assume that
no, but that's what I'm saying is they're going to have to get carried by their offense until Senga comes back.
Maybe.
They just don't have the starting pitching, Michael. They're not going to survive unless they bludgeon teams like they did today. You're not going to get any length until Senga comes back. And Quintana's good. And listen, they might get better, but right now they've been able to survive because they've been able to hit now recently. That's what's turned them around in Cincinnati and in Atlanta. They've been able to hit the ball. So, Michael, they almost swept this series. They came back from 6-0 down, made it 6-5. And the Braves have kind of like the Houston Jays, right? That's a team that's always been a problem for the Mets, the way the Astros have been a problem for the Yankees, although the Astros aren't winning, Michael. They lost again today, I think.
To Kansas City, and Kansas City's playing the Mets this weekend. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, you look at it and think that should be easy, but it may not be. But I'm not trying to diminish what the Yankees have done. But you take a look at what Houston's record is, the Diamondbacks, and we know the Marlins are awful. So you were impressed by what they did against the team you could never beat and against the defending National League champions. But maybe you caught those teams at the right time.
But then you beat, the Blue Jays. I mean, you're beating everybody.
Right.
They didn't make the schedule up.
Michael, I got to tell you, as much as the Astros own the Yankees, the Yankees own the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays just cower in the presence of the Yankees. Am I wrong, Peter? And I like the Blue Jays. I'd like the Blue Jays to do well. But in any big spot with the Yankees, when did they come up?
Not in a long time.
You got to go back to like Dave Stewart and Cito Gaston.
I was going to say, Cito. Joe Carter?
Yeah, you got to go back, Michael.
All right, let's not go back. But the Yankees will go to Cleveland to play the Guardians. The Mets are going to get the Anthony. You know who we should have on tomorrow? See if you agree. Sunday is Dwight Gooden. I think we have to have Doc on.
I would love to have Doc on.
Yeah.
Can you make that happen?
Let's do that, Anthony. Could we do that?
I'll put it in.